Welcome back to this week's episode of the Agents to Owners podcast. I am really looking forward to the discussion this week. I met this person at the Innovation IAOA conference in Nashville this year. I have heard about his product for a long time, so I'm really looking forward to getting to know him and more about his product because I really think it's a fascinating backstory. Our guest today is Raution Jaiswal, and he is the owner, co-founder of InsuredMine. And Raution, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Brad. Thanks for bringing me on the show. I'm really thankful for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So let's get started. So in researching you a little bit, I've seen you have a very impressive work history background. You have an extensive history of being an executive, a director, but what I didn't see in there was a connection to the insurance industry. So tell me how InsuredMine came about and how it came about that you are going to enter into the insurance industry space.
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting story, and thanks for starting at that note because as we always say, start from the start, and that is the start, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny, we always look at and we make assumptions. The assumption is if you want to innovate in a particular field, you got to be an expert in that field or have spent a lot of years in that field, or it's generation in that field. But if you look into the last several years of innovation that has happened, not necessarily all of those has happened by people who have been a part of that industry per se. Because one thing which is more critical to innovate than having the domain expertise is that ability to think out of the box, or having that ability to think of first principle thinking, what I call. How are you solving the problem? How are you understanding that problem and relating to that problem? Yes, having domain expertise helps, but not necessarily. Well, that's my alibi of saying, hey, why I'm not an insurance expert and still able to deliver. But let me give you my spiel on what actually got me into this.
Mm-hmm.
So my only association with insurance has been that I used to pay my insurance bills quarterly, monthly, or annually, whatever it may be. So nothing to do with this. I worked in corporate for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And then one fine day from my fly from Chicago to Dallas, I needed to make my insurance payment. And I realized, all the information was just in a disarray. And so the intent was, it kind of gave me that moment to think, wouldn't it be nice to have all insurance information in one place? And boom, that was the moment.
Wow.
And then from there, it's a journey, right? Because then what you start doing is you start validating that hypothesis, that is this a problem, or is it my problem, or it is everybody's problem? Then once it's a lot of people's problem, then how big is that problem? Is it a dental care or it is a root canal?
Yeah.
Right? Because then people would pay that kind of an attention if depending on what it is, right? But the beauty of this is where I started in 2017-18 period to where we are today. It's like chalk and cheese. It has changed dramatically over the period of time, and it has for the betterment of what problem we are solving and how complex is that problem that we are trying to understand every day and kind of go deeper to solve it. So our initial idea was to build a platform to consolidate a user policy, but today we ended up being a CRM for agency. So there has been a journey from that point to this point. But what it has been, as we say, think big, but iterate small. So we kept iterating, kept pivoting to solve a more complex and more needy problem than, hey, something just nice to have problem.
Yeah. Well, which is really interesting. So you identified an issue within, the insurance industry, and how you as a customer are receiving your bills, receiving your documents. It's interesting because if you look at the insurance industry, you mentioned, you know, is it cleaning or is it a root canal? Within the insurance industry, there are root canal issues all over the place.
Exactly.
So, how was it that you landed on a CRM?
Yep. So it was very natural that the when we solve, again, from that innovation thinking, when you're trying to solve a problem, you can solve it inside out, which means a guy who has been in the industry and understands and trying to
Mhm.
solve, or you can do it outside in. You have a outside perspective and you're trying to get in. And so the first thing what you try to do is you learn about the domain. So the best way to learn about the domain is meet smart professionals like you. I met probably 50 to 70 agency owners in my first few months, and that is where, I when I told them, hey, this is what I'm trying to solve for, they said, this is great, but I have a much bigger and complex problem that I'm willing to pay you for.
Yeah.
Obviously then it becomes a much easier and
Yeah.
natural choice, but then you're also hearing the same kind of a repetitive theme from them on the pain point, on how they are engaging with the customer, where there is a data hostage in a way. They're not able to understand their data, how the customer, they have 10,000 customers, but they barely connect with them. I say I
Yeah.
leave them alone if I'm not getting any kind of a cancellation request or anything. But you could have done a much better job if you would have built that relation, because then you can upsell, cross sell, and increase your profitability as well.
Yes.
So in totality, there is much more they could have done, but they were trying to do their best with what they had. They just did not know what they did not know and what they could do more with what they have, something like a tool like InsuredMine.
Yeah. So, in your words, how would you describe what InsuredMine does for an
So it's,
insurance
it's
agent?
fairly simple. So when we talk to agencies, we always focus on what we call as customer journey. It's a seven
Yes.
stage customer journey. So the tool, there is a product part and there is a benefit part. The product is simple to put it in a category. We call it a CRM.
Yes.
It's a customer relationship management system. Every agency dealing with one customer to 100,000 customer needs a system to manage those customers,
Yes.
right? And a customer journey begins much before a policy is sold to them and much after a policy has been canceled with them.
Agreed.
So that journey needs to be identified, and you got to be in that sync with that journey with those customers. Agency management system, what 99% of the agency or 95% of the agencies use today, is a great policy platform. It's a good back-end system. But again, a policy life cycle is what it manages, but a customer life cycle is what you need to manage as an agency.
Yes.
And it's so AMS is a subset of a CRM in a way. So yeah, and I'll come back to that whole customer journey in a bit, but yeah, at least it gives you a clarity of what a CRM is,
Yeah.
and why an agency needs a CRM.
Do you guys have any estimated numbers? And I just thought of this right now. Do you have any estimated numbers? There's what, 30,000 independent insurance agencies. I don't know how many combined there is with captives. Do you have an idea how many of those may use a software like a CRM?
Yes, we have hypothesis. There is not very specific study around it, but by talking to a lot of agents, it kind of gives us a good sample size to understand that. So I was talking to Chip, and he was on our show last week. And Chip, who is the CEO of Trusted Choice and
Okay.
the guy, and he said, the independent agencies have grown in the last year and a half. Well, it has consistently been stable, and but in the last, so it is kind of starting to hover around, getting to closer to 40,000 agencies.
Okay.
Now, if you look at that 40,000 agencies constituents, there is a long thin tail, which means there is a lot of small agencies and a lot of those. But then there is a small constituent of large agencies, but they are very few. Um, but if you look at the entire 40,000 for just a totality, the the top 5% may have something around, or maybe even the top 10% may have something similar, or Salesforce or CRM, something in their pocket. But then if you look at the bottom 20 or 30%, either they do not have a CRM, or they are Frankensteining something to make it work with an Excel or with a pipe drive or something,
Yeah.
or their AMS as well. But then there is this whole middle market who is ready but do not, or should not, or could not afford Salesforce, but need a solution in this space. So
Yeah.
this middle market is this huge opportunity that exists. But having said that, I would say at this point, at least 60 plus percent of the market do not have a CRM.
Wow. I guess I'm not surprised, but for me, it's such a key piece of our agency, and like you said, for our customer journey and relating and automating and just communicating, keeping our name in front of them,
Yep.
and cross selling, and it does so many things. Um, what would you say separates InsuredMine from the other CRMs in the space?
Well, the key word is in the space. So there is vertical CRM, which is CRM designed for insurance. So when
Yeah.
you say CRM designed for insurance, there is not many, probably
Yeah.
two or three. And
Right.
then there are generic CRMs, the Salesforce, the HubSpot,
Right.
the Zohos. They do not even come close. Salesforce, yes, in the top 5% they compete, but anything after that, it becomes cost prohibitive and several other reasons.
Yeah.
But being a vertical SaaS product, vertical industry focused insurance CRM, why we win against everybody else? We are obviously, the product leader in the space because of our product, would say our technical prowess, the ability to create the amount of innovation within a year. We have probably somewhere close to 600 to 700 new features or enhancements
Wow.
every year. That's what we are bringing. So when an agency signs up with InsuredMine, they're not getting what they are seeing today in the catalog, but everything that we are building. And
Okay.
we are building at a pretty rapid pace. But then the bigger question is, what are we building? We
Yeah.
are not building because every morning I wake up with a brilliant idea. I'm
Yeah.
building because I'm listening to you guys.
Yeah.
That constant feedback loop is keeping us ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is what, you as a CEO or the visionary, you constantly have ideas and how to improve and how to get better, every day. Um, let's back up a little bit, to you recognize the problem that needs to be solved in this industry. And so where did you take it from there? Are you on the development side of the program, or do you outsource that? Do you have connections? How did it evolve from that point where you recognize a problem that I'm going to build this company?
No, no, we did not outsource anything, and I'm not a developer, so I'm an idea guy. As I
Yeah.
always, the idea was becoming more and more obvious, and I was just fortunate to find four young dynamic developers in India who are willing to quit their job
Wow.
and say, okay, I want to get on this journey with you. And
Wow.
the funny part was, okay, and they were in four different cities in the country.
Okay.
We bought them flight tickets, we moved them into one apartment, and they lived together. And the only thing they did was 24/7
Develop.
coding.
Wow. Okay.
And from that little, then there's the snowball effect started. That capacity building continued to grow from those 4 developers to 40 developers today.
40 developers.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't think anybody in our space is deploying that many engineers to build product. So obviously is that gives us that edge, that gives us that momentum and that speed to deliver what agencies want. So short, long story short, the idea was there, customer need was there. We built a small team and then we bootstrapped this whole thing to now 50 plus employees between US and India, and just grew the whole thing up.
50 total employees.
Yeah.
And you started with yourself, your co-founder, and 4 developers.
Yes.
Wow, congratulate. That is it since which I did not. So this was created in 2019.
18 is when we started. Then again, not coming from insurance. Another thing which I did was very helpful was I spent few months at an accelerator program on insurance, which is Global Insurance Accelerator in Des Moines,
Okay.
Iowa. So that was very helpful to learn a lot about insurance. And once we graduated from that program, we spent next 5-6 months building it. But so you are right, it actually took off in 19, and from there
Launched.
and so 18 end we sold for $300. That was our first contract that we wrote that year. And every year since 19 was decent, we kind of close around 150K, and then from there it's double tripled every year.
That's massive growth. I mean, in a short period of time, that's impressive. So with all that, what would you say are some unique challenges to running an Insuretech program?
Well, what is interesting, what you see as obvious today, like a cell phone, wireless cell phone is an obvious thing. 20 years ago, it was not an obvious thing. You had
Correct.
wired, the dialers. So
Yes.
same thing, what we say as APIs being an obvious thing today was not in 18 and 19.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
early days, the API, the integrations were the biggest challenge. Nobody wanted to talk to you.
Correct.
Nobody wanted to do anything like this. But then that was pulling molasses, building relations, starting to do one thing at a time. And then, yeah.
Do you think the API push comes from, is that pressure from the industry, or is that, you guys saying we need to have this, we're going to be better if we can communicate together, it's going to be a better user experience? Where do you think that's come from, where you say that, just 3 years ago it didn't exist, or every company was reluctant, now, so many more are being connected to communicate with each other? Where do you think that came from in such a short period of time?
It's interesting because I don't think there is one factor that influenced this whole thing. I would be wrong to say that, just because we pushed it hard or customer pushed it hard, so they did it. No, I think their internal, all these larger agency management system, their internal strategies has evolved as well. They, from being a closed knit ecosystem to becoming an ecosystem of their own. That kind of strategy has evolved, Vertaforce, the Applied, and others as well. And I think that has been a game changer as well.
Yeah.
Then the maturity on the whole API side as well has become a big thing. The architectures are changing as well. So technology improvement, the customer need, there are players, Insuretech players like us, changing strategy from the agency management system. Just the timing of all of them has come together at the right time, at the right place, and that's why it has happened in the last 24 to 36 months.
Yeah. Something that I look for purchasing software or a lot of things is what kind of back-end support is there? Should I have a problem? I of course learned that whether you take on an AMS or a CRM, it doesn't come out of the box how you'd like it to. You see a demo and you see the things that it can do. Well, it has to be built out that way. So how is InsuredMine set up from a support standpoint, where if I call and say, hey, I want to set up a mailing to my homeowners renewals, do you have the availability to help me with this?
Mhm. Yep. No, so I think there is two part in that question. One
Yeah.
is how easy and intuitive the system is. So first of all, you should not need to call anybody,
Yeah.
right?
Ideally.
Do it. Yeah, right. And that's what we invest a lot of time in, that user experience. Um, if you are not able to understand what the system can do, or you should be doing with the system in the first 30 minutes, I think we have not done a good job. That's what we always put ourselves against.
Yeah.
Having said that, the needs are becoming more and more complex. The more we are building, the more people are asking. And I don't think this cat and mouse game will ever end.
Well, we're a needy bunch,
Right. No, but it's all good.
Yeah.
You are thinking about your business, and you are also starting to think, what more can I do?
Yeah.
Because you didn't had a solution like this, you didn't even try. Now you have a solution. Now that greed is coming from seeing an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right. So that's part one, is how do we make it more and more user friendly? User experience is getting better. It's more easy and intuitive. But then take it to the next level. Okay, I still want help. We have a live chat literally throughout the day.
Okay.
So you do not have to wait on a phone call and say, hey, I'm going to be dialed in something with 30 minutes later. That does not happen. You are on a live chat, people are helping you throughout. We give you a lot of content, and then if that live chat is not enough, one of those guys will jump on a Zoom call with you.
Okay.
So the support is, just over the roof, because I think that is the key. It is because we always say we do not sell license. We sell you the adoption.
Okay.
Because see, it's again a change in the mindset. If we sell license, that means the moment I'm sold you the license, I'm done. But if my commitment is to the adoption, then I'm not done by selling you the license.
Yeah.
I start at that point.
Yeah. So the key things that we touched on earlier were the APIs, and I know that has coming, and I'm not sure where InsuredMine is. Does InsuredMine does it integrate with most of the insurance AMS systems?
Yes. I don't know if there is any other agency, any other CRM or anybody who is more integrated than we are today.
Okay.
And I'll say it publicly, from AMS 360 to QQ Catalyst to Sagita to PL Rater to Hawksoft, Nextshore, now Search. We are wrapping up some pilot with Epic. And so Epic and EasyLinks are our last two frontiers.
Okay.
And we are already on Epic journey, so just one more to go.
And that's got to be a very difficult process, right? With all of them, you're dealing with what their technology is. I mean, I have no idea how that relates, but that has to be, is that something you handle yourself, or is that something your developers handle?
So I obviously, being on the forefront of things, I handle a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
And also being aware of technology. Even though I do not code, I understand technology deep enough to understand. And I think if I just deviate a little bit from the product that we offer to the agency, I think the biggest product that we have built within our ecosystem is not the CRM that customer sees. I think the biggest product, or the most complex product that we have built, is harmonization or the normalization of data from 10 agency management system into InsuredMine, and then renormalizing it, denormalizing it, and pushing it back. That is the most complex thing that we have been able to solve at a real-time basis.
Wow. What are some of the future enhancements that you are seeing, and maybe they're a year, 2 years down the road, that you see that can benefit the agency force?
It's a very timely question. Actually, I just wrote an article yesterday, and I even talked about it last week at our insurance agency user group. which is about, where do we see InsuredMine, and I'll share that link with you after the
Yeah,
thing.
please.
So I do believe, what we have built so far, and this is where my greed comes in. I believe, we are scratching the surface. I'm excited, but I'm also frustrated that we have just got so far. You know, there is so much to do. This So three areas that we continue to invest in. One, in the next 1 to 4 months, would be what we have built is this much, and every piece of the interaction of agencies with InsuredMine, we are very meticulously watching. So we try to look at what are you doing 5 minutes before you interact with InsuredMine and 5 minutes after you interact with InsuredMine. Knowing those 5 minutes help me understand your flow better. And then we are trying to streamline and smoothen that flow.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so example of that was, people were using InsuredMine, and then they had to jump off InsuredMine to go to an e-signature platform and get things, and it will break the process. And it was clunky. And so what we ended up doing is we built our own e-signature platform so we can smoothen and make that flow longer and
Nice.
less.
Nice. Nice. Just again, something that popped in. Do you have? I'm sure your system, integrates with the various texting options. Do you have your own texting feature within InsuredMine?
That's right.
It's huge.
So we have built everything. Again, there is integrations, but there is
Yeah.
already pre-built texting as well. So phone systems and texting systems are both pre-built.
Okay.
You get
Yeah.
the texting and phone free with InsuredMine. But on top of it, if you have your own integration, or if you want to use Ring Central or Lightspeed, any of those guys, those are integrated as well.
If there is somebody that is looking to purchase a CRM for the first time, or maybe looking to see if there's a better solution, what should they know about InsuredMine that this is the best product for them?
Yeah. So the key here is to understand what you are trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
I always say, don't go and just buy a shiny object.
Yeah.
Right. So this takes me back to that customer journey. Understand your customer journey. There is 7 phases: lead capture, to lead nurture, to sales funnel, customer onboarding, policy servicing, then renewal, and win back.
Yeah.
So these 7, where you want to focus: lead capture, then we have the forms, and so there is a whole robust flow, how you're bringing using InsuredMine forms, data captured comes to CRM, and from CRM to AMS, how that flows. If you want to focus on just the sales funnel, there is a whole wonderful pipelines that you can manage.
Yeah.
You want to focus on renewal, there's a whole renewal playbook around it. So you got to be, and I hate to say this, but people sometimes have to stop trying to boil the ocean. I'm going to do everything. Don't do that. Pick up 1 or 2, your biggest pain, where biggest opportunities are. Pick up that and solve for it. And once you vertically solve that problem, then go to the next problem.
Yes.
And that's why I
Great
say,
advice.
you're looking at InsuredMine, think about what I want to actually solve first. I want to build my sales pipeline. Do I want to build my referral program? Or do I want to look at my renewals first? One of the 3 or 4 things, just pick it up, build that in and out, get a confidence. It's like self-driving car. Even if I tell you, this car self-drives, you're not going to leave the steering. You just feel better by controlling that steering at the moment. But gradually you will learn the process that, I can leave the steering, the car will drive itself. So that's what InsuredMine is. It will drive itself, but initially you just need to learn to let go, and it will be fine.
And so like I mentioned, on this podcast, we're focusing so much on scratch agencies, newer agency owners. And what I've been talking to, I always like to talk a little bit about tech. And for me, a CRM should be one of the very first purchases, and almost as a necessity. You mentioned lead nurturing and sales pipeline. That's everything. That is what you are doing as a scratch agent.
Yep.
So that gets you off the ground, and everything else is going to fall into place after that you can use.
Yep.
So
See,
it's
another thing, Brad, I will add to that is, because InsuredMine does way more with some of the things, like you would not have to buy five different tools to do five different
yeah,
things. You will have InsuredMine that will take care of it. Whether it's form, whether it's your texting, whether it's your Google reviews, whether it's your mobile app, you got your email campaigns, all of that you would otherwise have bought five or six different
yeah.
applications. Now you just need one AMS and one CRM, and you are good.
And I don't know if you threw in, I mean, the e-signature piece of it, that's massive
Comes
as
for
well.
free.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're paying $20 or $30
Wow.
just for that.
I saw recently that you are looking to hire a COO.
Yes.
Which is a massive hire, right? So is that you that's been handling most of those operations responsibilities? That
Yep.
you're looking
Yep.
to. Yeah.
I've been the chief janitor as well as the chief
Yes.
accounting person and the HR and whatever not.
Yeah. So I mean, that's exciting, right? I mean, hey, if it takes a year to find the right person, it's worth it.
Yep. I'm not in a rush, but it has to
Yeah.
be the right person. As I said, we are hitting closer to a 3 million in revenue this year, and I'm looking to grow next year at the same capacity. We'll be hitting probably 6-7 million next year.
Wow! Congratulations.
So thank you. And if we are gonna hit that, I want to prepare for it today. So within the next few months, we are able to find a resource who would be that number two guy.
So I'm approaching that position as what not the revenue volume, to look at hire an operations person. My question is, are you going to easily be able to relinquish those responsibilities to someone else? When you've taken this company from 6 employees to 50, to relinquish that over to allow someone else to management, that's a lot for a founder to let go. Is that something you'll be able to easily let go, do you think?
Yeah, so from day one, one thing I have always said to my team is I am working every day to get myself out of this job.
Yeah, love it.
And the goal is to build an institution, not my legacy. I want to build an institution that is independent of my influence, and then that will stand straight without me. And that's what every day is what we work towards, is to build that autonomy of decision making. People are responsible for their own decisions and outcomes, and that's how we have grown this well. You cannot, money itself cannot be that motivator for these many people to work this many hours and bring it where we are today. We have built a culture of just lot of raw passion, and that you would see in talking to people from our company. They're committed to what they're doing and they enjoy what they're doing. They're seeing a pretty heavy swing in terms of the growth, and so that is what is keeping everybody excited.
Since you've built something and clearly have a passion for what you've built and what the future of the company, could you envision yourself selling to a big box suitor?
So I do not look it from a selling perspective. I always look it from an opportunity perspective. What can we do to continuously bring that multiplier effect of the value that we are able to generate for agencies?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have done well. Nothing in the short term that I can think of. But again, I think the idea here is, how do we continue to do that? And that idea is changing every day.
Yeah.
And how that would evolve, nobody has any idea.
Correct. Yeah. Hey, I want to be respectful of your time. I appreciate it so much for you to be on here. Tell us how, if someone wants to get in touch with you or wants to take a closer look at the InsuredMine platform, how can someone get in touch with you?
Well, it's simple. Go to just insuredmine.com. It's insured, InsuredMine, not mind, mine, MINE, mine your data.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes.
Yes, insuredmine.com and request a demo. We have wonderful folks like Sam and Tucker who should be able to walk you through and give you perspective of how this can benefit your agency. One thing what we do not do is a cookie cutter demo of, hey, here's the demo, go watch. Because we believe every agency is a snowflake. It's very unique and different, and we want to make sure how this product would fit into your ecosystem is by learning about you first, hey, and then try to give you a walkthrough of, hey, this is what it would fit in.
Okay, good. All right, outstanding. I will also include that in the show notes. People can obviously reach you on LinkedIn. I know that's where we connected. So once again, thank you very much for your time. Really enjoyed our conversation to get to know you and learn more about InsuredMine. And yeah, let's stay connected.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad. Thanks for the
So
time.
thank you very much. We'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for everyone to listening for another episode of the Agents to Owners podcast. We will see you next time.
Yeah, thanks.